Alright guys, so I just finished watching the Apex Legends Season 5 Fortune's Favor launch trailer, and I was pretty blown away by it in all honesty. Mostly from a lore perspective though, there really wasn't a whole lot going on as far as character interaction or funny voice lines like we've seen in the past, which I was a little upset by because in the past it seems like we've had some really funny and unique perspectives that came into play because of how the characters worked together, or I guess the lack thereof, like Mirage and Crypto. But in this trailer we did get a pretty close look at just how Revenant functions and what Hammond Robotics could be planning with this technology, as well as some potential map changes. So I'm going to talk about some stuff that maybe if you just watched the trailer you didn't really notice. I went down in the comments of the YouTube video to see if there were people talking about these things. I couldn't really find many people who are pointing this kind of stuff out. So while this is going to be a shorter video, I did just want to tell you guys what some of the lesser talked about observations. And so first off, it seems like this area that Loba is going in is under Skulltown. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed that because right at the beginning when Pathfinder and Mirage are fighting, we see all the buildings and that Leviathan skeleton in the background, and then the camera dips down underneath, which comes into play later. I do just want to talk first about the disembodied head that Loba pulls through like the Monsters Inc. door before it disappears, because the only person I've seen point this out is Shrugdoll, that this is actually the head of Revenant, and he seems to be in some kind of like Matrix-like state where he has all these tubes going into his brain keeping him alive. Seems like his head and his spine are really the only things that are still present, and we know from lore in the past that his body has been drowned and blown up and shot up, and so it makes sense that there's nothing left of it. But because of the way Loba interacts with his head trying to shoot it up, it seems to me like Hammond Robotics is using the consciousness of Revenant, kind of like how Jango Fett was used to make the clones in Star Wars. They're like using his consciousness and his skills and his personality and just his drive to finish his missions no matter the cost. They have that in Revenant already, but they are trying to upload it into all of these other simulacrums that are hanging underneath this area. Now, we've seen in the past models of these stalkers, the things that attack Loba, and we know that at some point you're going to be able to see them in game. In fact, you might even be able to see them today in game. I don't know for certain yet because it's still another 45 minutes until I can get into a match on World's Edge, which is where all these teasers are going to be taking place. But I would really be interested to see if that's the case. Additionally, I think this is probably the only way that Loba can actually truly kill Revenant, and as promised, I will talk about that fully in a different video, talking about a lore theory about how Revenant is actually indestructible. And this is the final piece that I've needed to complete that theory, so this is really, really exciting for me. But if she were to destroy that head, she would essentially be destroying the consciousness of Revenant, which means that he'd no longer be able to function. However, unfortunately for her, there is bulletproof glass in front of him, and the Monsters Inc. door teleports out of there. So I'm sure in future seasons we'll be seeing more of her trying to destroy this head, and it might even lead us to a new map, which we're getting, I believe, in Season 7. Don't quote me on that, though. Unless it happens, then you can quote me on it. But the other thing that I want to talk about, and if I can find this image, I'll put it up on screen, we're likely going to be getting a new dome area, and this could potentially be that underground dome, since if you look at the shape of the room, it is rather circular. But I want to talk about how they massacred my boy, Skulltown. No, the Leviathan skull. Ugh. What is with Respawn and splitting maps in half? It looks to me like Loba caused an earthquake of some sort with all the explosives that she was using, and like the ground caved in, and the giant Leviathan skull in Skulltown actually falls through this crack. So that'll be pretty interesting to see. I also like that there's like fire and smoke coming out, yet the fire and smoke is coming out of the water, but that's, if you watch it in normal speed, I'm sure it makes sense. I've been watching this in 1/4 speed. And the last thing that I just want to point out, which I'm sure you guys noticed, but I just want to reiterate it because it was something that really caught my attention, is that when Revenant looks at Loba, he has the ability to scan her face and know exactly who she is, and also have a picture of her at the age the last time that he saw her. It also says that she's a target, which means that when he went and killed her mother and her father, she was actually marked for death. She was supposed to die too, but due to the elevator and the glass getting stuck in his neck, he actually never even finished that mission. It also seems like he is somehow overridden a lot of the code in his brain or in his software, because otherwise he would straight up just murder her right now in this trailer, since his programming has him immediately off anybody who's considered a target. So that's interesting. And just the line that he uses where when he sees her, he immediately knows that she's there trying to kill him, which is pretty cool. That's going to be it, though. I might be back with a second video today if I do find those stalkers in World's Edge. But keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for Loba in your lobby. And as we get closer, you're going to want to be subscribed to the channel, since I do post every single day, and I'm going to have the dev blog up. I'm going to have the patch notes up the second those are available. So that's going to be it for me for today, though. Maybe. And until next time, take it easy.